Madden is one of the most well-known sports video game franchises in the world, with Madden consistently being one of the best-selling console games. Despite the good sales, people have become more and more frustrated with every single Madden release, and it seems like every year people complain that the current Madden game is the worst Madden game of all time. Even though this might not necessarily be true, it certainly shows how the fans feel about the newer Madden games. Madden is a simulation football game that allows players to create their own dream team in the Ultimate Team game mode, create their own player in the Face of the Franchise mode, challenge other players online with online head-to-head, and a lot more. Now, I've been playing Madden since Madden 13 came out on the PS3, and I've bought most of the Madden games that come out after that. I currently have no interest in buying Madden 22 because I already have Madden 21, and from what I've seen, the games are pretty much the exact same, which is an issue that I'll get into a little bit later. Madden 18 was the last Madden that I played consistently, and I don't feel the need to constantly buy the next Madden game when I could just keep on playing the older game and not have to lose all my progress. When it comes to the sports video game genre, most people are playing the game for the same reason. You enjoy the sport of football and you want to play against your friends with the best teams and the best players. Now, I always had the most fun playing Madden Ultimate Team because you could take full control over your team and get the exact players you wanted on the field. Ultimate Team is very similar to other created team modes in sports video games, including FIFA with their FIFA Ultimate Team mode and NBA 2K with their My Team mode. Now, the other main game mode in Madden involves you making your own player and playing with him through the process of getting in the NFL in an offline setting. You can be any position you want, which gives everybody a unique experience. This mode was never as appealing to me as Ultimate Team was, mainly because it was extremely repetitive and there simply wasn't as much to do. Now, those are the two main game modes in Madden that most people enjoy the most, but people can also play modes such as Franchise and the Yard. Now, I've mentioned the newer Madden games for a little bit, but it's impossible to talk about Madden without bringing up the older games in the franchise. The first Madden game was called John Madden Football, also known as Madden 1988, clearly being named after the legendary football coach John Madden. Now, obviously the old school Madden games looked very different compared to the game we have today, and even though the game is very low quality graphics wise, you gotta give respect to the older Madden games because they paved the way for the future. Since Madden didn't have the name recognition it has today, the developers actually had to make great games or else nobody would buy it. Nowadays, a Madden game can come out and no matter how bad it is, people will buy it simply because they love football. When looking back at these older Madden games, you can see the major improvements between the years, whether that be much better graphics, more game modes, better gameplay animations, and more. But once the game got more popular, EA got complacent and stopped adding fun features for the fans to enjoy. Take a look at this side by side of Madden 18 and the newest Madden, Madden 22. Now, the gameplay looks pretty much identical and the animations are more the same. Now, maybe that's just because the technology has reached a point where the graphical improvements are few and far between, but the two games look way too similar to be released 4 years apart. And the real question is, why did EA stop putting in a ton of effort into Madden? And I believe the main reason is because they do not have to. What other football video games are on the market in the year 2022? They have literally no competition. If you want to buy a football video game, you're gonna buy Madden no matter what, and EA knows that. So there's no incentive for EA to make an amazing Madden game if they can spend half the resources and make a ton of money regardless. Now, the only other recent football game that comes to mind is NCAA Football 14, which was a football game revolving around college players and college teams. NCAA Football 14 was the last game to come out in that series, and ever since then, Madden has had a monopoly on the football video game genre. The good news though is that the NCAA Football series is expected to make a comeback at some point in 2023, which means there will be a different football game to play, and it won't just be Madden. Now, NCAA Football is also created by EA Sports though, so I'm not exactly sure how much competition that will actually be. The main problem is that EA has exclusive rights to publish football games with NFL teams and players. EA has these rights through 2026, so until then, there will be no competing NFL football games. Now, there has been a lot of outrage from Madden fans who have gotten fed up with the careless effort being put in by EA. There has actually been a lot of people trying to start petitions and gather people on social media with the main goal of getting the NFL to drop EA's exclusive rights to publish these games. Nothing serious has come out of that, but it's still nice to see people fighting back against the monopoly. Madden is very similar to NBA 2K in the sense that both games have been receiving a ton of criticism in the last few years for not innovating enough and releasing subpar products, yet both games still sell millions and millions of copies upon release. Switching focus back to the gameplay of Madden, I think a major problem in online games like Madden is that if there is one overpowered play or team or defensive coverage, that certain style will be used by everyone. EA could make an extremely balanced Madden game with great gameplay and fair rosters, but if one playbook has an unstoppable play, everybody's going to abuse it. That means if EA doesn't make a picture perfect game, there is always going to be people that use exploits to get ahead of the average player, and it's not the player's fault for doing so because they're just using the most effective tactics mechanics available, but still, it can be extremely frustrating for a casual player just trying to enjoy the game. For example, take a look at this play, HB Wheel. This play for the longest time was used against me in Madden, and I still can't stop it. Now maybe I just suck at the game, but it's still super annoying when someone runs these same unguardable plays every time. Another one of the original money plays was Power O, where the running back basically gets a wide open lane every single time. I have lost to people who run this play literally every single time, and it seems like no matter what defense I run, I just cannot stop it. Now most of the time people don't run the same play over and over again, but when it does happen, it's certainly rage inducing. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't grinded a Madden game since Madden 18, and I don't plan on buying another Madden game unless I do a much better job balancing the game or add a brand new intriguing game mode. I'm sure many of you guys are tired of Madden releasing the same game with updated rosters every year, and unfortunately I don't think major change will happen until EA gets some serious competition in the genre, which once again will not happen for a very long time because EA has the exclusive rights to use the NFL teams through 2026. Make sure to comment down below on what your favorite Madden game of all time is, and I'll make sure to get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this video on the downfall of the Madden franchise, and I'll see you all next time.